my kid plays Mario Kart. And it looks like, yeah, Donkey Kong and Mario and I don't know all the character names, but it looks like Mario Kart. Alright guys, we're going to do a little race right now, a little Super Mario race. We have, what do we have down there? We have Bowser, we have Super Mario, we have Luigi down there, and Donkey Kong. The boys are all lined up. We got a little finish line for them right here. We're going to do a little race down here. So Jay's going to hit that horn, start the race. And I want to just see, I'm more just for curious, obviously this doesn't really mean nothing as far as what's the better machine, but which one's faster. So I want to see which one's going to make it down here the fastest. Of course, fun for the guys. We got 4 machines, 4 operators. Let's see what this does. So Jay's going to hit that horn. Guys, fire up your engines. Get these suckers rolling, and let's run down here and see who's going to win this race. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. Are you good? Alright guys, good morning. We are here today testing out some little mini skid steers. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you guys what we're testing out, and then kind of tell you what my plan is to do for a plan of attack, and then we'll kind of start getting into it and go from there. So this is what we're working with this morning, guys. We have, and I do not know a lot about these machines, so I'm going to kind of figure this out as I go with you guys. But this is a Case TL100 mini skid steer. We have a Ditch Witch SK900, SCL1000 Kubota, and then we have the Bobcat MT100. These are all mini skid steers, all track machines, and we have forks with 2 of them. So basically, I arranged to have these machines dropped off. We have forks with 2 of them. I'm going to see if they're interchangeable so we can get forks on all these machines. But what we basically want to do is we're going to be buying one of these machines. We're not sure which one we're going to buy, but the plan of having them all here, all side by side. We obviously have a lot of equipment. As you guys know, if you watch our channel, we have lots of stuff that we frequently use in construction, but what we don't have, and what we just purchased actually is a mini excavator. So we just bought a 1.7 ton cat mini excavator. Why we're getting these smaller unit machines is so that when we go into backyard projects, we can fit in between gates, make it a little bit more efficient for our team. So we did just buy a mini X. The tracks go in and out on it, so when you put the bucket down and the dozer blade down, you lift yourself up, the tracks retract in, get through the gate, you come back in, do the same thing, open your tracks back out, give you stability, and kind of away you go from there. So that's a pretty cool machine. We're getting that on Wednesday, but for now we're going to be picking between one of these machines to see which one we want to have in our fleet to make things more efficient. So the couple tests I want to do basically is put some dirt in the bucket, see how they scoop, how the breakout force is, put the pallets on. We have all kinds of, sorry, not the pallets on, the forks on. We have all kinds of pallets on our yard. There's probably 300 pallets here, honestly, of all different sizes, caps, blocks, different bricks, you name it. There's just a variety of pallets. There's, I think, 5 rows here behind these trucks and this equipment. So we're gonna just grab different pallets, see how it lifts them, see how it handles them, and basically what's going to kind of make the decision here. These are all good brand machines. I've talked to people online so far. I posted on Instagram that we're going to be doing this today. I've had lots and lots and lots of feedback. Kind of everyone has a different opinion. So far, I think though, the most common ones that I'm getting good feedback from are the Ditch Witch and the Kubota, which I'm a little bit surprised kind of to hear that, but sorry, Ditch Witch, sorry, and Bobcat. Ditch Witch and Bobcat. Those are the 2 I've heard the most kind of brand loyalty from. This is the first time I've ever seen the Case, and I haven't had anyone actually comment about the Case. It does look very nice. I'm excited to see how it goes. My first impression, so just raw, right off the bat, the first things that I noticed about the machine that I want to just kind of share with you my raw thoughts, and at the end I'm going to share with you my final thoughts. My first initial thoughts are, so looking at the machines, they all look good. I do like the LED light on the Case and the Kubota. That's such a detail, it doesn't matter, but I do think it looks cool. I like the look of the Ditch Witch. I like the look of the Kubota. Honestly, they all look good. The only thing is I will say is that the biggest difference is with the Bobcat having that plastic hood, the rest of them having painted hoods. I think it does kind of take back some aesthetics from the Bobcat, but this really isn't about aesthetics today. This is more about what is the most functional machine for our company. So off the bat, again, not much experience with these machines, but something that I did notice that I think I don't like is two things. So on the case, you have narrow tracks here. So I'm not a big fan of that. Those look pretty narrow for tracks on these machines. The Bobcat's the same over there. So if you see on the Ditch Witch, I'm gonna say I can measure it to let you guys know, but maybe between 2 to 3 inches wider track on the Ditch Witch and on the Kubota. They both have wider tracks, those two. The Bobcat in the case is narrower, and my thinking of that basically is just footprints. When you're going on people's lawns and you're transporting back material, you want more of a wider footprint like those two have, so you're not kind of punching out the grass so the lawn is bad. So stability wise, footprint wise, I don't like the case and the Kubota off the bat. For that, again, not having a lot of experience with these machines, maybe there's a reason why that I'm overlooking, but just my gut tells me that. Besides that, the other thing that I think I don't like is the controls here. So two more things actually. So the controls on the Ditch Witch are the only ones that move independently for the track. So you have two different controls. So your hand's kind of like this, and you kind of move them together with one hand. That's the same as basically running a paver, which I don't think I'm going to like on the Ditch Witch. Everyone else, they have a kind of a bigger joystick here for the case, but it's just one joystick. Same thing on the Kubota, has a kind of a wider joystick, but same principle, and it turns and goes forward, backward. And the Bobcat's kind of like a skid steer, it's more of just like a stick, but same thing. So I don't like the independent movement of these so far from the little bit of time I have on the machine. Other thing that I noticed too, off the bat, again, just raw things I've picked up off the bat, is you have a nice kind of nook for your body to go in on the Bobcat. Same thing on the Kubota, but not with the Ditch Witch. There's not kind of a nice spot for your body. When you stand on it, it's kind of nice leaning forward when you're on the machine. I've noticed that so far. So this one does not have that. The case does. It's just not as nice of a shape, but the case does have it as well. Those are kind of my initial thoughts as far as the machine. So track width is something that I noticed that I think is a downfall, and the Ditch Witch, with those joysticks being two joysticks, like I said, I'll show you kind of on the paver here. The same way you steer a paver is like this with the two sticks. It's a pain in the ass to do, to tell you the truth. So I do think that those are kind of maybe some negatives. So we'll see how they perform. We want to test breakout power, lifting power, how they go into our dump trailer, and just kind of a practical use on the machine. So we're going to try that, do some demos, we'll show you guys some videos, and then see which one we're going to pick at the end for our landscape mini skid steer machine. So let's dive into it and have some fun. All right guys, so just really quickly here, because we just talked about this. So track width, Caden went and grabbed me a tape. So Caden, measure these tracks. I want to see how wide they are on the machines here. So Case, what do you have there?
I got 7 inches for this guy.
Okay. Ditch Witch?
Ditch Witch, 9 inches.
9 inches. Almost 9.5, eh? Pretty wide.
Pretty wide, yeah.
Okay. And then Kubota.
Those ones there are almost 10.
Almost 10 on the Kubota. Okay.
Just shy. And then Bobcat. We are 7 1/4.
7 1/4. So again, so the Bobcat then in the case, they're very similar width, and then those two are similar as well. So again, almost 3 inches wider, which to me is 3 inches more stability. I think that it's going to provide you and traction as well. So I just want to measure and show you guys that little difference. But to me, I think it might be a very important difference. Also, too, the lug design. So more aggressive on the Ditch Witch. Not a bad thing. Definitely gets to get some good traction there. More of a universal tractor, I think, like less going to damage your lawn, but still provides you with grip on the Kubota. Traditional track here, kind of what you'd see on a Mini X on the case. Not a bad thing. Again, just it's narrow, and I don't think I like the footprint of the Bobcat. It has not a lot of lug on it, honestly. It almost looks like these tracks are like a year old, which they're not. They're brand new, but they don't look like they have a great traction on those. The lug is just not a lot there. So that's kind of something I noticed as well. So share that with you, kind of again, some raw reactions. Let's dive into some demos. All right guys, we have the buckets up in the air. I put the buckets up because I wanted to see what would happen with all the buckets in the air. I actually thought there would be more of a significant height difference on these machines. I thought one would maybe outreach the others, but they're all super close. I'll kind of go here at the end of the line, kind of show you guys, let's turn this camera around here and show you what that looks like. Get kind of a sight line there. So if anything, I think the case has the best reach. Again, not by much, we're talking maybe an inch here, but I think the case, then the Kubota, then the Bobcat, then the Ditch Witch. They're all super close. The Ditch Witch might be, I don't know, maybe 2-3 inches, a little bit less, which with a dump trailer, I don't think will overly matter for most trailers, but it is just something to note. But again, it's such a close call here that it really, to me, is, I'm gonna just call it kind of an even contest there. It's nothing is significant of a difference. But what might be a significant difference here is the bucket size for the first test I want to do. So I do think out of all these machines, the Kubota has the biggest bucket, and then I think it's going to be the Bobcat, then the Case, then the Ditch Witch. And the reason that might be important here for the first test I want to do is I want to jump on the machines, go over to, we have a bin over here with our bedding stone in it for what we use for interlock. I want to grab a scoop, kind of bury the bucket in there, see what the breakout power is. I have the dump trailer right here set up on the back of my truck. So again, go in that bin, grab a scoop, go to the dump trailer, and I want to see basically how sturdy these machines are up in the air with a load, how they dump out, how close you can get to the truck, how well you can see your bucket, kind of just overall general use of these machines is obviously going to be loading in that dump trailer and scooping and moving material. So how does it feel? How does it handle? Stability wise, whole 9 yards. So let's jump on these machines, kind of see how they scoop, breakout force, the power is, stability, whatever it is, and kind of see how it feels. Ergonomically too is important, you know, how comfortable it feels obviously doing that task, especially over and over and over again. So I'm going to put a GoPro over here, and I'll set a camera up somewhere over here. We'll film these going from that bin into that trailer, and get these guys going here. Let's try it out. All right, guys, good morning. And I guess we have some explaining to do because we have a late entry into this race, which is kind of cool. So the power of social media is pretty cool. We're going to touch on that quickly here. I posted all these machines on our Instagram. I talked to all these guys ahead of time, so we're going to be putting them head to head. We want to see which machine is going to be the best machine. And Noah from East Rock, he's actually here this morning as well. It's Sunday morning. They contacted me yesterday at like 3 o'clock. It was Saturday yesterday. 3 o'clock they contacted me. They said, hey, listen, we'd like to put our machine in the race with you guys and kind of see you know, how it holds up against the other competitors. I said, wicked, if you guys want to bring it here, you can. Their yard's about an hour and 20 minutes from our yard, and they put it on a float, drove it down here. They got here at 5:30 yesterday and brought the machine down here for the competition. So shout out to Noah, and he came down here this morning to check out how it compares against the rest of the tests that we're going to do. So that's commitment right there. So I'm honestly impressed with that. So anyways, they brought it here. Their dealership is called East Rock. It's down in the east end of Ottawa. They're a Devlon and a Wacker Neuson dealership. So anyways, we're going to quickly bring this Wacker Neuson up to speed with the rest of the machines, jump in the demo, and kind of keep things going. So my plan this morning is to take this guy right now. I already have the GoPro set up for it. We're going to take a scoop again, like we did yesterday, out of that bin, put it into that trailer, see how it handles things. After that, we're going to go over there. The rest of the machines you can see them kind of parked back behind that skid steer over there. We're going to grab them, go into the dirt pile, and scoop it up. That dirt pile is pretty fresh over right there, so it'll be pretty easy to scoop that stuff up. That pile's been sitting there, the big one over there has been sitting there for a while. It's a little bit more dense. So just want to test the machines going into some dirt piles, their breakout power, how they kind of handle it, see which ones are gonna be the best in that category. The stuff behind us here in the bin, it's kind of more of a loose, clear stone material, easier to scoop up. So we're gonna do that. After we're done that test, the last test I want to do is put forks on whatever machines we can get forks onto, and lift pallets. Going to see who has the best lifting capability, and then from there kind of make our final decision. So let's hop into things and get things going here. Alright guys, so far we've dumped into the dump trailer. We've scooped up dirt here from this pile, and I want to do one more test before we put those forks on, because I just realized this kind of as I was scooping, and kind of when you're driving on the dirt, so kind of right here, I was kind of scooping from the pile here, backing through there, driving through there, and then dumping on this side of the pile. And you can kind of tell that some machines are a little bit more stable than others. So I thought, you know what's a good idea? Let's take the machines, they're all lined up there. We're gonna go into this Riverstone pile right here. Just grab like a normal level full bucket of Riverstone. I want to back up over here and just kind of drive through. This is all full of lumps and bumps, and this stone's kind of bigger Riverstone too, so it's not the nicest stuff to drive on. There's a few ruts in it and stuff like that. So I want to just kind of load up the machines, kind of simulate if you were on a job site, you know, driving in between someone's house or something like that, and you're kind of moving the machines to move material. How comfortable does it feel with a full bucket traveling, you know, this is probably 100 feet back and forth. So let's jump in the machines, grab a scoop, run them down, kind of see which machine kind of handles that comfortability and stability the best on kind of a not smooth terrains. I think that's an important factor, as well as comfortability when handling materials. So we're gonna jump on the machines, run them through here, and kind of see how that feels. All right guys, so this is our final test and we're going to be lifting some pallets. So we have the Kubota, the Ditch Witch, and the Wacker Neuson are the only 3 machines here that we have with forks. Unfortunately, the Case and Bobcat, we didn't get forks with them. They just didn't have them at the yards where they came from, so that's okay. I don't want to take forks off these machines and try to make them fit on those machines, because the problem is if we bend something or something happens, and I don't want to be responsible for it. So we're going to just seat these 2 out for this demo, unfortunately. But these 3 do have it, so let's see what happens here. I counted a pallet over here. There's a full pallet of brick there. It's 11 rows tall, and the weighting on it for the weight rating is 3,000 pounds. So basically a full pallet over there is 3,000 pounds. This pallet right in front of me here is 6 rows, so it's roughly 1,500 pounds. It's about half that weight, a little more than half. So right here we have roughly, I'm gonna say, let's just say low end 1,400 pounds, high end 1,600 pounds. And then this one here is about 1,000 pounds right here, which is technically what all these machines are rated for, is 1,000 pounds. So they should all handle this pallet no problem, and this one kind of is pushing it. So I'm interested to see how they handle this one, of course, first, and then if anything can lift that, and if it can, kind of how well can it operate something like that. So for us bringing material into a backyard, the more we can bring in one shot with these little machines is obviously you know, handy, because it saves trips going to the backyard. So let's kind of see which one has the best lifting power and how stable it is when it lifts up in the air too, because balancing for here is going to be very important. So let's jump on and lift them and see what happens. All right, guys, there's your lineup, and which one is gonna be your winner? Drum roll, please, because this might surprise you. In my opinion, the winner for this contest that we did, wasn't a contest, but this demo that we did at our yard, your winner is the SM100 by Wacker Neuson. And I honestly so surprised that I'm saying that, because this, first of all, wasn't even in the conversation originally. Obviously, as you guys know at the start of the video, was just those 4 machines. They brought us this machine as we were filming with these 4 machines here. And anyways, the Wacker was impressive. I'll explain to you guys why it was and why I think that's the machine we're going to choose. I put the machines in order from basically what I felt, how they ranked from least impressive to most impressive, and I'm going to quickly explain to you guys as to why. I am not picking the Wacker Neuson because they brought us the machine here, which I thought was very impressive how we were filming it. They saw it on Instagram. They messaged me, said, hey, we want our machine there for that demo. They brought us the machine last night at 5:30. They floated it down to us just so we can be in this demo video. Noah came down here, dropped it off, came back this morning to watch us demo the machines. And listen, I told him straight up, if your machine's good, then it's good. If it's junk, I'll tell you. And it was very impressive to watch this machine do what it had to do. So let's quickly, guys, go through the machines, pros and cons. All these machines were honestly good machines. There was no junk machine or machine that was not impressive. They honestly all are good machines. I have no doubt that anyone watching this video, if you are a ditch witch guy, if you're a case guy, a Bobcat, Kubota, and you're like, hey, I love my machine, I'm not surprised you feel that way. They're honestly all good machines. So I'm just going to tell you the things that I personally felt I didn't like, and our team didn't like, because we had all of our operators on these machines as well, and just the things that we felt were pros and cons. I think they're all good machines, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to try all these machines side by side. On our social media, I know most of the guys that hold these machines, they reached out to us and they said, hey, listen, we want you to try our machines. So thank you to everyone for giving us that opportunity. I really appreciate it, and it's so nice to kind of compare them side by side. The price gap in these machines, it's not like you're buying, you know, let's say a skid steer or a paver or an excavator, where on those machines sometimes you can have a significant price difference from one machine to the next. All these machines here were all very similar in price, and for us as a business, knowing that going into this decision, that's why we wanted to try them all side by side. Sometimes with a machine, when you have a significant price gap, that can be a factor when making a decision as a business, but in this case, knowing how close they all were, the real thing was how did they feel, and what's the overall use going to feel like for our end users, which are our guys, our operators. So let's hop into that, guys, and do this as quick as we can. So quickly, the Ditch Witch, pros and cons. So I like the track with the Ditch Witch. Also felt very nice. It felt very sturdy. The tracks move very well. You could just feel it's a rugged, well-built machine. Things I didn't like was when you went to load with the bucket into the trailer, it had the worst feel for basically, I'm gonna say, I guess, clearance in the machine. When you went to scoop and go into the dump trailer, it barely reached in the trailer without feeling, it just did not feel comfortable reaching to the dump trailer. So the reach on it into the trailer was not very nice. So that was my biggest knock on the machine, and kind of a deterrent for the Ditch Witch. The other things with the machine that are the 2 other things that I didn't like was every other machine here has kind of a nook that you kind of sit in on the back. You can see this kind of concave shape that they all have to kind of hold you in there. The Ditch Witch does not. It's almost flat in the back, which I found that very weird. After operating these machines for the last day, you learn quickly that it's not like you're in a skid steer where you're sitting in there with a bar on top of you. You're pretty exposed in the back here, and it throws you around and whips you around. So being inside that little nook, to me, it felt kind of just more comfortable, because you had that kind of those little sidewalls surrounding you, where the Ditch Witch did not have that. I found that kind of odd, especially considering the rest of them had that. The biggest deterrent, though, honestly, with the Ditch Witch to me was I wasn't fussy originally about having the tracks controlled separately. I'm used to it on our paver, and I'm not a fan of it on our paver, honestly, either. but I did get used to this and it wasn't terrible. So that every time you did use this machine, this did feel better. The thing that I didn't like the most was right here. To control the bucket, this was so uncomfortable and so tight to these bars here. To control this machine with your fingers like this, it was so uncomfortable controlling the bucket that honestly, after using the machine for 10 minutes, I actually felt a cramp in my fingers because it was just so weird to hold on to for so long. It was just, and it was stiff too. It wasn't like it was a smooth controller. It was stiff and weird to use. So that was my biggest deterrent. The breakout power too in lifting up, so it handled its weight well. It just moves slow, so you could get into a pile of dirt, scoop into it. I only stalled this machine I think maybe once or twice, which they all did stall eventually, but the breakout power, it had the power, but it just was very slow coming up. That might just be a setting, I'm not sure. But again, I like the ditch witch. It's a well-built machine. The reaching into the dump trailer was a big deterrent. That control for the arm and the bucket was very, very uncomfortable, and I don't understand why there's not something more kind of a nook for you to stand into. Jumping over to the case. The case and the Bobcat both share, which I addressed this I think already off the bat, the #1 negative track width. And I wasn't sure how that would affect the machines, having never driven one of these machines before, but I can tell you firsthand, when I did notice it was when you went into piles to scoop, the Riverstone was the most noticeable. Those two machines, the track slipped on them. So as you went to get a full bucket, they lacked traction to get a full bucket, and that's due to track width. So I did not like that about those two machines. It's a huge deterrent in my opinion. The case though was very surprising. I like the looks and style of the case. The bucket visibility, so all these machines, something that was important to me was when you're standing up on the machine here and you're looking down at your blade, if you can actually see your blade. And the Kubota, hopefully you can see there in the camera, you can see the blade very well. Sorry, the case, sorry, not the Kubota, the case. It actually was the best visibility out of all these machines to see the bucket. The case was the best one for visibility. The case also, a cool pro it has is accessibility for the engine bay. That when this opens up, it's really, really accessible in there, but also the back here, this, you push this button, this folds up and then that folds down. So this case opens up for accessibility really, really impressively. So that's kind of cool. The case has two issues though that I really didn't like besides the narrow tracks. One, all of our guys, all of our operators also the same thing. These joysticks are very fat, knobby joysticks. They're just not comfortable to use. They're just totally not comfortable. Every one of our guys said the same thing. They did not like those joysticks. And the last thing for the case was it seemed like out of all the machines, and I'm not sure if it's a setting, but breakout power, it bogged down all the time. You went to take a scoop and it bogged down. Even just lifting up the arm up and down sometimes as you're driving, it kind of, you can hear the RPMs kind of die down. So the case seemed to get lacked power for some reason. It was very smooth to use. It was comfortable. Besides those joysticks and the breakout power, I was actually very impressed with the case overall. I did not really, I just didn't expect that out of the case. It was a good machine overall. So again, not bad. Couple things, breakout power, the joystick comfortability, and the narrow tracks would be my biggest knocks on the case. The Bobcat to me was very interesting. It's right in the middle of the pack. And here's the cool thing about the Bobcat. I really have no negatives to say about the Bobcat, but also not really any super positives. It was something I would not complain about if I owned one. If you're a Bobcat guy and you currently have one and you have no complaints with it, I'm kind of not surprised. Besides the narrow tracks, like I said, I really have no complaints. The Bobcat was kind of right in the middle of the pack. Visibility was pretty good. It controlled well. The layout of the joysticks up top here, it was pretty good. It was a little bit jumpy, so all of our guys did the same thing, that the Bobcat had a little bit of like a jarry feeling to the controls when you are using the joysticks. But overall, layout here makes sense. It's comfortable to stand on, and when you have a bucket full and you're moving material back and forth, it handled it well. So again, no real complaints with the Bobcat, just nothing super impressed me, but I have also nothing really to say negative about the machine either. It was a good machine besides that track width. Again, that's really the only negative I can really point out about the Bobcat. The two that impressed me the most, the two at the end, and I was really back and forth here with these machines. Before that Wacker Neuson came into the conversation, I was all in on the Kubota. It was like 100%, it was definitely Kubota, no doubt about it. Off the bat, our guys, just looks alone, liked the Kubota and the case just looking at the machine sitting here. I'm actually a fan of the Ditch Witch personally. I actually like the way the Ditch Witch looks, but all of our guys said they liked the look of the Kubota and the case the most. So again, what's good about this case? Track width is good. The case has a really beautiful track pad on it, and the width of it's very nice. It's very sturdy to drive, comfortable to drive. And the thing I got to say that I have to give Kubota credit for, It has the biggest bucket in this bunch. That bucket takes the most volume out of all these machines. It was the one machine that I almost could not make it die down in a pile. You would just go into a pile, go to scoop up, and it would not bog out. It handled that bucket so well, which was very impressive because, like I said, it's the biggest bucket. So in theory, it should have the hardest time when in fact had the easiest time out of all the machines. So that was a really cool thing about the Kubota. The Kubota has a nice layout. It dumped well into the dump trailer. It has a nice LED light up there, which is just kind of a cool thing. The only thing too that was weird about the back of the Kubota was it's the only one that has these exposed hoses. Every other machine has the hoses. As you can see here with the Wacker, they're kind of down low here, and they're just out of sight with all these machines. You can't see the hoses, but the only one you can is the Kubota. Is that really a negative? Not overly. It's just a little bit weird compared to the rest. But the biggest thing that was a negative, in my opinion, with the Kubota, and I don't want to say negative, but just it took some getting used to, I guess, is the controls are electric over hydraulic controls. So for one thing, they do have the only one with the screen, which is neat. When you go into this machine, you have to put in a code. Once the code's activated, after every 30 minutes, you have to re-put it back in. If the machine sits for more than 30 minutes, you have to put the code back in. If you're using it in between that time frame, you don't have to put the code in. The joystick here, the layout, it's elongated. It is comfortable to hold on to. When you turn the Kubota, you turn it like this. So it does turn side to side to move the machine, front, back, and then you have your side to side here. This is a little bit knobby, but not bad. It is way more comfortable than the case, but this took some getting used to, the side to side movement. Once you get used to it, it's not bad. But the biggest thing, though, I will say with the Kubota is that it does have oversteer. So what I mean by that is that I think, my opinion is because it's electric controls, when you go to kind of turn left and then let off the control, it kind of kept turning for a second. So every time you turn left and right and forward, backward, there was I guess you can say a delay is probably the best way to describe it to you guys. There was a delay in the machine, which was a bit discouraging. Now, if you ran them all the time, you would get used to it, I'm sure, but I just didn't like that delay, the responsiveness to the controls to your hand. There was a bit of a delay there that was a little bit odd to get used to, but it wasn't the end of the world. And with the Wacker Neuson, it didn't have that delay at all. It had basically everything that your hand does, it does. So it has there's lots of room for these joysticks to move around in here. They're comfortable to hold on to, and everything your hand does, the machine does. And in fact, funny enough, so at the start of the video, you guys would have saw we raced these machines. We had a little race. That was more for something kind of fun to do, give you guys something kind of fun to watch as viewers, but it doesn't matter which machine is the fastest. Funny enough, though, that Wacker Neuson actually is the fastest out of all these machines. It moves really, really quickly. In fact, you kind of have to be careful and when you first get onto it, kind of be mindful of that, because it zips around pretty darn quick actually. The breakout power is good. So the Wacker Neuson, only thing that I will say that is kind of a little bit of a negative is that it did bog down a little bit when you went to take a full scoop. And you can see here, hopefully, the bucket size in that Kubota versus the Wacker Neuson, it's definitely more narrow on that Wacker Neuson. So I found it a bit surprising that it was bogging down. Again, not bad, better than the rest of the machines here, but a little bit it would bog down. It would catch itself though and not die out, but a little bit sometimes when you went to scoop. The layout of the Wacker Neuson compared to the Kubota, again, it's not as advanced, but it is operator friendly, and that is what we want. That's what we like. It's comfortable to stand onto. Both machines, when they had a pile of material and you're driving with them, they both are very stable to drive on. So seriously, these machines are, in my opinion, so neck and neck, it's not even funny. They were the whole time we were back and forth on both of them once we got the Wacker Neuson here. The biggest deciding factor for me, and the thing that was impressive the most, is that we got these machines for working in backyard, for doing interlock projects. We bought a little mini excavator to go with them, and we have these machines here. And what impressed me was that we lifted two different pallets, a 1,000-pound pallet and a pallet that had approximately 1,500 pounds on it. And the only machine out of all these machines here that could lift up that pallet was that Wacker Neuson. The Kubota could lift it kind of with the arms, but it did not have the power to curl it back. The Wacker Neuson was the only machine that could lift that pallet and curl it back, which was really, really impressive. The Wacker Neuson was also, I don't think we caught this on camera, but we took the Wacker, we put that 1,500-pound pallet onto it, we picked it up in the air, and then got off the machine. And it was also the only machine that could not only pick up the pallet, but you can actually get off the machine without it tipping. All the rest of the machines, when they tried to pick up that pallet, they all like tipped forward with the weight. They couldn't take the weight. Yourself as a body in the back needed to be on there for that counterweight. The Wacker Neuson, I could not believe that it could lift up that pallet, again, it's between 13 and 1500 pounds. It took that pallet up in the air. You can get off the machine and it still had the pallet. It was about a foot in the air, which was just super impressive to me. So again, these machines, honestly, neck and neck. I cannot knock that Kubota at all. It was very impressive. But at the end of the day, for us, when you're working in the backyards, if that machine can take even an extra layer or two of bricks into the backyard, so it's just less trips, it handles the machine better, it's very smooth, and it's more responsive. Again, one thing again with that Wacker Neuson is with the controls, everything you're handed, it did. There was no delay like the Kubota had just a little bit of, which I wasn't the hugest fan of. So again, thank you to everyone that let us try out these machines. These are all really great, impressive machines, but I do have to say, I think the Wacker Neuson is the most impressive out of all the machines. It has a Yanmar engine for anyone that's wondering, and Yanmar does make a fantastic engine. That excavator right there is a 10-ton Yanmar machine. I've had zero issues with that. It's 2022. There's 600 hours on it, no issues, and this thing has a motor, same motor again as the Yanmar engine, so cool. I think the rest of these machines actually all have Kubota motors in them. I think they're actually all Kubotas. That's the only one with the Yanmar motor, and I'm not sure if it's just the pumps or what it is in the machine, but that little bugger is strong, it's comfortable, the controls make sense. So the winner for this competition, or demo, let's call it, is Wacker Neuson. Again, thank you to everyone that let us try out their machines. This was a really great experience for our company to try which machine is going to be the best for us. And again, they're all great machines. I get why everyone might like any one of these specific machines, but I think the Wacker for us was just the one that's just above the rest, and I think might be the right choice for our company. So thanks guys for watching, I really appreciate it. This content was fun for me to shoot, so thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you made it all the way to the end of this far, I appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. If you're looking at getting a machine like this, hopefully this information was helpful for you, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.